Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at an incredible 300-point climb in only 2 days to hit Legend, featuring KROOKODILE in the Halloween Cup. These battles were submitted to the channel by a member of the community, so many thanks for the battle submission. KROOKODILE is a dark and ground-type Pokemon with the moveset of Mud Slap, Crunch, and Earthquake. This trainer pairs it up with Shadow Alolan Marowak and Salazzle to complete the Legend team. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and check out KROOKODILE in action in the Halloween Cup. Hopping to the first match, picking up a nice lead, KROOKODILE into Dragalge. Unfortunately, there is lag at the start. The game finally unfreezes, and Dragalge is going to be firing off the Aqua Tail. Immediate shield from the KROOKODILE. KROOKODILE hits hard, but is very glassy. KROOKODILE able to get the Mud Slap farm down and leave with a ton of energy. Opponent brings in Drapion. Do they know? KROOKODILE, Earthquake, one-shots the Drapion. Opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. Hopping into the next match, leading KROOKODILE into Sableye. This is generally a favorable lead for KROOKODILE, but you do have to be careful of a potential return. These Mud Slaps adding up quite a bit on Sableye. Sableye is just going to go for the Foul Play. Foul Play does a lot because KROOKODILE is glassy, but KROOKODILE is going to be able to tank it and fire off the Crunch. Crunch is going to hit for some heavy neutral damage. Sableye will commit the shield. KROOKODILE continuing to farm. Sableye is going to go for another Foul Play. KROOKODILE actually going to let itself get taken out and go for energy on Salazzle. Salazzle going for the farm down, but the Sableye lives on 1 HP. That's unfortunate. Foul Play does get the shield. Salazzle leaves with a ton of energy. Opponent brings in Shadow Skuntank. Salazzle going straight for the Dragon Pulse. Dragon Pulse, big damage onto the Skuntank. Fortress in the back, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading KROOKODILE into Umbreon. This lead depends on what charge move Umbreon is running as their nuke move. If they're running Last Resort, they are actually able to hit for neutral damage here, whereas if they're running Psychic, they are only able to hit for resisted. They are running Last Resort, which is a little unfortunate. KROOKODILE does commit the shield, farm up quite a bit, and going for the Earthquake. Earthquake able to land, massive damage onto the Umbreon. KROOKODILE is going to be able to tank this Last Resort and commit to the farm down. KROOKODILE will leave with a nice amount of energy to threaten whatever they bring in. They bring in Frostlass. Frostlass met with Salazzle. Salazzle dealing massive damage with the Incinerates and going for the Poison Fang right away. Opponent in the back, they have Galvantula, and they are so weak to fire in the back. Poison Fang gets the shield. Galvantula goes for a move, giving Salazzle an entire free Incinerate. Salazzle commits the shield, farms down the Galv, and leaves with another Fang to throw at the Frostlass. Frostlass lets it through. They're going to fire off an Avalanche to take out the Salazzle, but bad news for them. There's a second fire type in the back with the Alolan Marowak, brings in the KROOKODILE, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading KROOKODILE into Toxapex. As you may have noticed, this team is triple weak to water, but the most common water type is Toxapex, which is going to be taking some heavy super effective damage from Mud Slap. Immediate shield from the KROOKODILE, as KROOKODILE wants to get rid of this Toxapex as quickly as possible. KROOKODILE is going to be firing off the Crunch. This will not KO, but it will be getting that Toxapex quite low. Gets the defense debuff and gets the farm down. Looking for the switch. In comes Sableye. Sableye will be met with Salazzle. Salazzle going straight for the Poison Fang. This is resisted, but the Poison Fang is going to help the Incinerates ramp up. In the back, the opponent has Alolan Marowak, and this is suddenly looking really, really scary. Going for the Dragon Pulse. Marowak commits the shield. Marowak is going to be able to get the farm down, and Salazzle is only able to reach a last-second Poison Fang. This Marowak just leaves absolutely loaded on energy. Going to bring in his own Alolan Marowak here and basically just use it to absorb this energy. Shadow Bone, massive damage. In comes the KROOKODILE. KROOKODILE going to try and finish out this game. Shadow Bone gets the shield. In comes the Sableye, going for the Earthquake. Earthquake is for sure going to be KOing here. Earthquake takes out the Sableye. Back in comes the Marowak. Marowak gets to a move. This is going to be taking out the KROOKODILE. The question is, can his Marowak take down the opponents? Yes, it can! And able to clutch the win. Hopping into the next match, leading KROOKODILE into another Toxapex. Opponent save switches into Sableye, and this is a bit awkward. KROOKODILE does have good matchups against both Sableye and Toxapex, but both of those Pokemon do very well against the backline, so this is definitely going to be a tough game. Sableye is going to be firing off a move, immediate shield from the KROOKODILE, it's the foul play, and then in comes Salazzle. Salazzle going for the Poison Fang, this is resisted, hopefully this is going to be enough to KO. Poison Fang is enough to KO, that's massive. In comes the Toxapex. Toxapex continuing to farm. Salazzle able to reach the Dragon Pulse. This will hit for some heavy neutral damage if it lands, which it does. Toxapex continuing to farm. Looks like Toxapex is going for the farm down, and that is incredibly scary because if they leave with double brine, then things are honestly not looking good here. Thankfully, he can just bring in the KROOKODILE and go for the Mud Slap, but he gets denied. The game does not work. Brine gets him low, and the opponent gets off a second move that they never should have had if his Mud Slap went through. That is absolutely heartbreaking. In comes his Alolan Marowak, and the opponent has their own in the back. Going to just be firing off charge move after charge move here. Calls the bait, just a Bone Club. That is a big call. Going to be firing off the Shadow Bone. Shadow Bone gets the shield. Unfortunately, no debuff. Opponent is just going to go straight Bone Club from here on out. Bone Club gets the shield. He's going to continue to farm up and go for the Shadow Bone. Really needing this Shadow Bone to KO. Shadow Bone able to KO. In comes the Toxapex. Toxapex gets farmed down, and that is a good game. Hopping into the final match of the set, leading KROOKODILE into another Sableye. We've seen this lead play out before, and it's a pretty nice one for KROOKODILE. As before, the opponent is just going to go for the foul play here, recognizing how squishy KROOKODILE is. KROOKODILE able to tank it, and they're going to be firing off the foul play. Foul play is going to get that Sableye low. KROOKODILE able to farm down, looking to try and pivot into the Salazzle. We'll have to see what the opponent brings in. They bring in Golbat. These wing attacks do add up quite a bit. Salazzle, an incredibly glassy pick. Poison Fang, not going to be doing a whole lot, but does get that ever important defense drop. In the back, it is Toxapex. Salazzle going for a Dragon Pulse. We've seen this before. This is going to do some solid damage, and a second Dragon Pulse will come very close to KOing. Opponent is going to fire off the Brine. They do not want to take that additional damage. Brine takes out Salazzle. In comes KROOKODILE. KROOKODILE trying to go for a farm down here. Opponent is going to be firing off another Brine. KROOKODILE commits the shield, looking to try and get the farm down. Switches in the Marowak. Realize he's not going to get the farm down, and instead, he's just going to use the Marowak to absorb the brine damage. In comes Golbat, but Golbat has so much energy here, he just has to call a bait. Opponent does bait, potentially maybe giving him a win con. He's going to be firing off the Bone Club. Bone Club gets the shield. Alolan Marowak continuing to farm. Opponent fires off the Poison Fang just before he's able to get to his move. Poison Fang gets the shield. He goes for the Bone Club, but he loses CMP to the Golbat. And at this point, this is game over. KROOKODILE not going to get to 2 moves. And that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, leading KROOKODILE into another Dragalge. Very nice lead. Opponent is going to save switch into Fortress, which is going to get absolutely burned down by Salazzle. They're going to fire off a last second move. Salazzle is going to respect it. Unfortunately, just a mirror shot, but Salazzle did get the full farm down and leaves with a bunch of energy to threaten the Dragalge. Back in comes the Dragalge. Salazzle going for the Dragon Pulse. Dragon Pulse one-shots. It's Azu in the back, and now Salazzle can start the Poison Fang spam. Poison Fang lands. Opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes the match. Hopping into the next match, leading KROOKODILE into Galvantula. Quite a bit of lag at the start of the match, unfortunately. Opponent is going to save switch into Umbreon. And honestly, considering there's a Shadow Alolan Marowak in the back, this is where you would want to see the Umbreon. Umbreon is going to fire off a move. They are running Last Resort. KROOKODILE is going to return fire with the Earthquake. Earthquake does get shielded. That is quite unfortunate. Umbreon continues to farm up, and they're going to be firing off a move. At this range, foul play probably enough to KO. They go for the foul play. It's barely not enough to KO. A switch into Salazzle. Salazzle is going to be committing the shield on the foul play. Salazzle continuing to farm, and is going to be going for the Dragon Pulse. This Dragon Pulse is lethal from this range. Umbreon lets it through, and they get taken out. In the back is Mandibuzz, and Salazzle is going to start spamming out these Poison Fangs, increasing the Incinerate damage more and more and more. Mandibuzz is going to fire up a move just before Salazzle is able to get to the next Fang. Salazzle commits the shield, overfarms, baiting the Dragon Pulse, trying to get a shield from the Mandibuzz. Poison Fang does get the shield. Mandibuzz not gonna let another Poison Fang land, as they're gonna be firing off the Foul Play. Foul Play will KO. In comes a Alolan Marowak. Marowak farming up, switch, and a beautiful catch onto the Krookodile. You love to see it. In comes a Alolan Marowak. Alolan Marowak gets the farm down, and that is a good game. Interesting lead in the next match, Krookodile into Shadow Drapion. This depends on moveset, and unfortunately this Drapion is running Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail, not the strongest move ever, but Krookodile is so glassy that an Aqua Tail is going to do a massive amount of damage. Aqua Tail gets them low, opponent goes for the snipe, and they get the snipe with Toxicroak. Things going from bad to worse. In comes the Shadow Alolan Marowak. Toxicroak is going to fire off the Mud Bomb. Mud Bomb does quite a lot of damage. Alolan Marowak is going to return the favor by going for a Bone Club. Bone Club, able to land, and able to get the Fire Spin down. Looking to try and switch into Salazzle. In the back, it is Obstagoon, and unfortunately, this is kind of looking like it's game over. Letting the Night Slash through. Night Slash just does so much damage, as Salazzle is incredibly glassy. Salazzle builds up to the Dragon Pulse, baits with the Poison Fang, grabs a shield from the Obstagoon, able to reach another Poison Fang. Is the opponent going to commit the second shield here? Do they know their counts? They do commit the shield, but now it's all up to the Shadow Alolan Marowak, and this Obstagoon just has too much energy. Night Slash gets the shield from the Marowak. This Bone Club is not going to be enough to KO. Bone Club onto the Obstagoon. Obstagoon able to survive. This Night Slash will be taking out the Alolan Marowak, and that is a good game. Hopping into the next match, now needing to win the next two games for Legend, and that's off to a great start, leading Krookodile into Shadow Nidoqueen. Opponent save switches into Shadow Scizor, which gets absolutely charbroiled by Salazzle. Nidoqueen is going to fire off a Poison Fang. Salazzle is glassy, but it is going to be able to live the Poison Fang and fire back with the Dragon Pulse. This will do massive damage if it lands. Opponent lets it through. In the back, they have Umbreon. Salazzle is going to be able to reach that ever-important Poison Fang. Poison Fang will get a very necessary debuff here. Opponent may have... Oh, it looks like they may not have closed out of the app. They're able to get the farm down. Just bring it in the Alolan Marowak to absorb the damage. And then you can commit to the Mud Slap farm down with Krookodile. They're going to fire off another move. That is perfectly fine. Honestly, you just save the shields for Krookodile here. They're debuffed, and you can just fully Mud Slap down, and there's nothing this Umbreon can do about it. Umbreon is going to frantically fire off charge moves, going for the Foul Play, firing off charge move number 2, but Krookodile does not care, slapping down the Umbreon and forcing the opponent into a 2-shield defeat. Hopping into the final match, the win and in-game to Legend, leading into a Sableye. Opponent save switches into Drapion, which is being torn to shreds by the Mud Slaps. Drapion fires off a move. They are not running Aqua Tail, which is massive. Unfortunately, the game is lagging. Drapion able to reach one final move, commits the shield, switches from Wi-Fi to data, and locks back in to Mud Slap down the Drapion. Back in comes Sableye. Sableye has a shield advantage, but this is a loaded Krookodile. Krookodile gets a shield with the Crunch. Krookodile able to reach another Crunch, continuing to apply pressure onto the Sableye. Gets the final shield. In comes Salazzle. Sableye farming up and firing off a move. Salazzle should have enough for the Dragon Pulse here, and Salazzle will easily win CMP. Opponent does not switch out, so they are going to get vanquished by the Dragon Pulse. In the back is Shadow Skuntank. Skuntank will outpace by a turn here, reaching the Crunch before Salazzle is able to get to the Dragon Pulse here. Crunch is going to KO, and now, honestly, I would just bring in the Alolan Marowak and get the Fire Spin damage. Alolan Marowak going for the Bone Club, loses CMP to Skuntank. Skuntank is going to be able to take out the Alolan Marowak with the Crunch. It's mud slap time. KROOKODILE takes out the Skuntank, secures the victory, and the 4-1 to hit legend rank. As you're going to see here, he does get the 4-1, gets a Frillish as a reward, misses the first throw, hits the second, claims the set, and hits legend rank. All in all, some phenomenal battles and an incredible 300-point climb in only 2 days to legend with KROOKODILE. I'll be honest, I haven't seen anyone else run KROOKODILE in the Halloween Cup, so bravo to this trainer, running a very off-meta pick and still having tremendous success with it. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is absolutely incredible. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.